Pawn Stars has just been exposed as fake, from hiring paid actors to Rick rarely working at the shop. There are so many things hidden from the cameras. Trust me, you guys are never going to believe all the different things that were actually staged and not real this whole time.
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you tell me, but I know you're full of
Before we dive into the evidence, let me give you a quick rundown for those who might not be super familiar with the show. Pawn Stars revolves around the daily operations of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, owned by the Harrison family. What's interesting is that the shop was opened in 1989 by Richard Old Man Harrison, but it's now operated by his son Rick Harrison, grandson Corey Harrison, and a family friend, Chumley Russell. And according to the show, what happens is that customers bring in rare and valuable historical items for the crew to evaluate and possibly purchase. That might not sound like it would be fake, but trust me, you've never heard anything like what I'm about to tell you. After its debut on the History Channel in 2009, Pawn Stars quickly became one of the network's most popular shows. Viewers have always loved the show and the family dynamics showcased on it, but now it's becoming clear that it's all really just a facade. So what exactly happens on the TV show? You'll never believe how insane this is. For starters, Rick Harrison, the proprietor of the show, is set up as a true celebrity. Based on the show alone, viewers might assume that he is in the store every single day, meeting with clients and brokering deals. I mean, this looks like the most obvious way to run things, but as it turns out, Rick allegedly spends almost half the year off the grid, allowing his employees to run the show. And it gets even crazier. Although Corey and Chumley might be good friends behind the scenes, just as they are on the show, the reality is that the pawn shop actually has about 700 employees. This means that it's those employees who mainly operate the shop on a daily basis. So I think we can all agree that the TV show has been pretty misleading when it comes to all this. Supposedly, Corey and Chumley are only at the shop for filming purposes, and they mostly keep a low profile when they are not filming. It's honestly kind of insane. All these years, the show has clearly been a big lie, and the fake storytelling does not stop there. The Pawn Stars cast have also been forced to adapt to their new status as reality show superstars. And here's the interesting part. There are several rules that Rick, Corey, and Chumley have to follow when filming the show. As they look at prospective items and sellers to be featured on the show, they don't have the freedom to just pick something they find interesting. Every item and seller has to be vetted before the show and go through a pre-negotiation process, which is pretty insane. But there's more. Mike Hoover, who claimed to be an extra on the show, discussed his experience on set when he came on to buy a Cartier watch for his wife. He claimed that they came into the shop just as they were about to shoot a segment and got a request to be extras. After about an hour of shooting, this was translated into about 5 minutes of airtime. According to his statement, the customers didn't just walk in. The producers of the show ran everyone else out of the store except for 12 people who agreed to be extras. That's honestly pretty wild. It's clear that the show is using many of the customers to shoot a lot of content for the weekly episodes. In 2014, the show manager Travis Benton also claimed that some segments are crafted after the store's pawnbrokers spot unique items and show them to producers who decide if they are worthy of broadcasting. Yes, you heard that right. The banter, negotiations, and even some of the items brought in by customers are all pre-arranged for dramatic effect. Obviously, it's all about ratings, and since the filming days are planned in advance, sellers are allegedly typically told to come back at a different time. Apparently, once the producers decide that an item is deemed possible TV material, the seller is approached on how to act while on camera. Travis revealed that some sellers might appear nervous during the shoot, which means that sometimes it can take several tries to get it right. What's even crazier is that reportedly the producers cut out some items from the show if the seller is not convincing enough. I was honestly shocked by all this. I mean, all of this just makes it sound like the whole show is just orchestrated by the producers. You know, those intense negotiations between the cast members and customers that keep you on the edge of your seat? Well, brace yourself, because allegedly they're not as authentic as they seem either. It turns out that many of the deals and transactions are predetermined with the price and outcome already decided before filming begins. But there's still more. The revelations just keep on coming. In an interview, executive producer Brent Montgomery explained that sellers are vetted before they appear on the show. According to him, they have to vet the sellers off camera to ensure that they will actually sell the stuff at a reasonable price and that they're not just trying to be on TV. I mean, I can definitely see how this could be a problem, but I still find it pretty crazy that the show is kind of built on a lot of inauthenticity. It seems to me like All that the producers are focused on is boosting the ratings. But what about their scripts? Is there anything else they might be hiding? Apparently, the stars mostly work with scripts. The writers supposedly tailor the scripts to every cast member and their individual personality, which is pretty interesting. I also think, like most reality shows, Pawn Stars is probably more keen on highlighting the drama while removing the more boring parts of the show. That makes sense, but there's still more. The problem with Pawn Stars don't stop there, because it's not just that it's kind of scripted. In 2012, A&E Networks, the History Channel, and the cast members were all sued by a Las Vegas promoter and the Harrison's manager, Wayne Jeffries. Wayne was quite instrumental in helping launch the series. However, as the show expanded, his influence was reduced and he was ultimately fired, losing his promised share of royalties and fees. So it makes sense why he filed the lawsuit. But despite all this, the show has continued to be pretty successful. I mean, even though the show seems to be kind of fake, it has received several spin-offs, which is pretty surprising. Following the success of Pawn Stars, there were a bunch of spin-offs such as Counting Cars, American Restoration, Cajun Pawn Stars, and Pawn Stars UK. It looks like the producers found a way to capitalize on the show's success to make even more money. And honestly, I can't blame them because the formula clearly works. Pawn Stars is still on air to this day. The show already has 21 seasons, and it's also already been renewed for 2 more seasons. Even though all the details about the show being fake are shocking, the show still continues to be successful. Despite all the stage scenes, exaggerated characters, and predetermined outcomes, people still love Pawn Stars. And at the end of the day, even though we know how much of the show is scripted, it's still entertaining, and maybe that's all that matters. But what do you guys think? Are you shocked that Pawn Stars is kind of fake and scripted, or does this not surprise you at all? Do you think it matters that it might not be real? Let me know in the comments below.